We are happy to announce that this episode of the SWW Show is partially brought to you by Humble Bundle. Well, not really. We are part of the Humble Bundle referral program, and we just wanted to say that if you like really cheap games and maybe helping charity pending the Humble thing going on, all you have to do is go to humblebundle.com/partner equals SWW. That's right, humblebundle.com/partner equals SWW. And you just do your normal stuff, and it just kind of helps us get a couple bucks here and there. Maybe it helps AJ get his lights, maybe it's Mike camera, maybe we actually pay Corey for helping us out. But again, if you're going to go buy games anyway, it might be worth checking out.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 65 of the SWW Show. It's me, AJ. I got Mike with me. We're doing this one live. So if my attention kind of
Screw it, we're doing it live.
wanes at times, it's because I'm trying to play a game. Speaking of games,
It makes total sense. But yeah, we're gonna talk about. Speaking of games, let's talk about. Let's talk about the elephant in the room then. Let's talk about it. The finals. You've put in objectively more than I have hours-wise, but it seems like something we both kind of
not really
enjoy.
much. I mean, I played enough to kind of figure out what's going on, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. So, what is your thought? So, to me, the finals is very interesting because it's a freedom shooter, has those kind of content to it, but like it does play super well. Like I was actually very impressed. I think by the quality of it, and I thought the like just generifying it down to the light, medium, heavy, like which I'm contending with this is like level of like simplicity. I think it's kind of nice in a game like this where like some games get so up their fireworks that you have to be like, okay, what the fuck does this mean when it says this type of name? What is this class? With this game's just like we're gonna tell you, be very direct, and just kind of tell you and just go. I think it's kind of a nice change of this kind of genre.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's got that kind of almost Call of Duty-esque where you can learn the maps because the basics of the map don't change. But then, like, there's different modifiers that you could have that it's like, oh, the cash points are floating now, or you've got low gravity, or the game just crashes. Which is always fun. So yeah, I mean it's got its issues, right? Like,
I've definitely had some crashing issues in this game.
Mine just shit the bed. When we streamed this the first time, yours crashed and then mine crashed. So it's not
like when I was playing it, I have crashes stuff. Like it's technically surprisingly intensive. I think too. I think it's a negative of it. Like I was kind of surprised for like relatively looking at it, like how much it feels like my computer is fighting to keep it up. But yeah, as a whole though, I do think it's a good game, and I think especially for a free game, it's definitely worth your time. I don't think there's any like we have concerns and problems. I don't think there's any like objective like you shouldn't play this level of concerns in this game.
Yeah. It's fun. It'll get there.
Yeah.
It's got a a ways to go.
Artistic time.
But I mean, also you have to remember, like, Fortnite took years to get where it was even fun. Or a bunch of people were playing it, I should say.
That's very true.
I mean, I remember
No,
hearing
that,
about
that
Fortnite,
like you had that level of like,
I don't know how many years. I think at one point in time, there were more people that had played Fortnite than people that knew what Fortnite was. Because it was one of those weird things where it was like, okay, it's a zombie wave-based survival game, but there might be a battle royale aspect to it. There were just so many questions around.
the way I was thinking of it is, I don't know, like Cliff Bleszinski, if you remember, announced that game on the E3 stage. That's how long ago the game was announced.
Yeah, I think it was almost a decade
pretty wild,
from when it was
pretty wild.
announced to when it became what it was. But
Yeah, so that's very fair, and I'll be curious to kind of see how this game kind of evolves over that same time period.
yeah,
Yeah, the other thing on your end is you've been kind of running your way continually through Like a Dragon,
yeah.
Infinite Wealth. Is there anything new on that game you want to talk about?
Dude, I streamed that game recently while you were at GDC, and I was live for 2 hours. I think I played 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes. The rest was cutscenes.
I was gonna say, what are you doing this? Okay,
So
that is wild.
yeah, it definitely
So,
was
Do
approaching.
you feel that's still good?
Oh shit. It was approaching that level of like Metal Gear-esque. I just think back to like Metal Gear 4 had, I think, a
Level of cutscenes.
hour and a half long cutscene that you couldn't skip. And I guess like if you had watched all of the stuff that was on the TV part of 4, I think that's like 3.5 hours long. So, Metal Gear is still the definitive long ass cutscene game. And Metal Gear, the Yakuza games have always had long ass cutscenes. That part isn't weird. It's just the problem was I joined or I started streaming basically at the end of a chapter. So it was like this big exposition dump. Exposition, there we go. Dump. Words are hard, especially when you're trying to shoot people with a shotgun. Shit. And it was just one of those things where I was like, okay, now I can button through the cutscene. And then you were going, okay, they have, for whatever reason, there's basically 2 levels of cutscenes to Yakuza games, where it's one you can button mash through,
Okay.
and one that you can't.
Yes, one is a more video-y, and one is like action game.
Yeah, one of them is definitely the
Pre-rendered,
oh yeah, like
most beautiful thing.
but it wouldn't surprise me if I spend another probably 60 hours in that game. For a multitude of reasons, right? Like, it's a game series specifically, that I absolutely adore. And this one's very fun. And it's got things that could definitely be time sinks. I haven't hopped back into the Animal Crossing Island Manager since I first started that section. But I mean, that's basically a whole game in itself. In terms of like, you could spend as much time as you wanted, I think, in that mode. So yeah, I mean, it's been pretty good.
Perfect. And the last game on my list is I'm playing a bunch of Against the Storm, which I think I mentioned like right at the end last time, which is interesting. So it's a city builder game, but like a more kind of like era kind of like you're in like a forest, kind of dealing with a bunch of like mystical creatures. But like the big twist is there's like this big timer kind of going on. That's the storm part. And the idea is like you're doing these colonies for like a leader, so you have like so much time to like appease her with certain objectives, and you kind of keep going this process. And the neat part, because it's a roguelike, so like once you lose or whatever, you got a bunch of points on the process. Your goal is then to kind of upgrade your stuff and get access to more types of towns, more types of buildings, upgrade buildings further, and just kind of continue this process. And your eventual goal is in one run to do so many of these towns in a row. So that was a very interesting twist on a city builder, and what I kind of liked about it too is I think city builders have this problem where like later in the game you're like, okay, what, like it's very self-driven to a point where you're like, okay, like I've done all these real objectives, and I kind of like this game of like it kind of lets you go through that loop a bunch, but it still gives you a bunch of new things like every time, so it's like there's still like new stuff you're doing, or it's different than kind of before, which I think is kind of a very nice change of pace than a lot of I think recent city builders.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I'd say that's something if that's something people recommend.
also like basically to be a successful city builder right now, your game just needs to run. I mean, I think City Skylines 2 is still having performance issues. 6 months since release.
Weird stuff with that game. Like after the first one was like loved by everyone, but the second one I've been hearing a lot of questionable things.
Yeah, a lot of people are realizing like it didn't need a sequel. Like,
which it really didn't. like honestly. So yeah, I completely agree on that. Okay, let's jump into what we've seen, and I've got there are two things on here, and I don't know which is the dumb one to start with. Let's start with the true dumb one. How is John Cena in Ricky Stinky?
Stinicky.
Stinicky?
So that movie's actually
about what is this?
Yeah, the movie's actually way more fun than it has any right to be. I mean, it's damn stupid, don't get me wrong. But, combining Efron and Cena was a very big get for Amazon, because those guys just work so well together and it's hilarious. Andrew Santino is in it as well, and he's all right. He's not my favorite of the what's the proper way to call them? Like, of the Rogan comedians. You know what I mean? Like him, Dan Soder, Dan Soder's in Billions. Andrew Santino's been in a decent amount of stuff. Bill Burr in Mandalorian. So
it's so wild to me that like the thing that I feel like his first like TV-ish film, like that acting role, had to have been Breaking Bad that people think really cared about.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, he was in Breaking Bad before
Which is so funny. Like,
Mandalorian, but
anything else?
Mandalorian was
'Cause, like,
recent.
recently, man, yeah, I feel yeah, like his like 'cause he doesn't do that much like TV and film.
No.
Ooh. The other thing that I had to ask you about that's on this. Tell us about the horror, which is this. I'm assuming this is the remake of Roadhouse.
Yeah. It's all right.
How is Jake Gyllenhaal McGregor?
I mean, Gyllenhaal is amazing. McGregor looks like he's on a coke bender the entire time. I swear at least half of his dialogue had to be 80 yard. The sound mixing is so bad on his dialogue.
Besides the trailer, I've seen like nothing in this film. Is it at all a remake? Is it completely different? Like, how does it compare?
It's a modernization. So,
Okay.
I mean, it definitely takes notions from the original Roadhouse. But, I mean, like, yes, Gyllenhaal's character is an underground fighter, but also he was a UFC fighter. Like, that's where he got his start. So, you know, it's a little more like set in modern reality and like, you know, so some of the things around it are, you know, modernized.
So,
So
did you like it, or like how are you feeling about this?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I would watch it again. You know, it's not like I wouldn't want to watch it again or watch it with somebody else. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. That sounds at least like a good time. Last thing before we get into actual new stuff is, Kevin, obviously I was at GDC, San Francisco. I'm just gonna say, it as much as like, you know how we all have a cartoon image of San Francisco in our heads.
yeah,
There are times that city really lives up to that image, and the other times the city's pretty nice. But I do stick with it is wild how expensive anything in that city is, even food and stuff. But otherwise, Tuesday's a good time. Catch up with little friends, saw a bunch of cool games, as you imagine, learned a bunch of tech stuff, and then letting off people. But what's interesting to me, which is the big one that I think was kind of big discussion kind of going on, is people felt pretty optimistic at GDC. It almost feels like maybe the layoffs are at least slowing down or somewhat. So it'd be kind of interesting to see.
I mean, there's not many more people that you could lay off. So,
and that's part of it. Could be is like we've kind of really done what we can before you start shutting down big studios, and no one seems to be under the impression that's going to happen.
yeah, I mean, at a certain point, yes, like the industry was going to self-correct after COVID, because so many industries overhired. So that part isn't surprising. You know, the part that is surprising is kind of the ruthlessness with how it was handled.
Yeah.
And kind of the suddenness, right? Like,
yeah, and it was such a short time span of everyone getting hit. I think that was a big one.
yeah. It was just like, oh, you know, we are all doing this at once. And, you know, there's going to be no...
because of that.
Yeah, there's going to be no breathing period for people to kind of try to get back on their feet. Where it's going to take everyone all out at once. Which in a way is a smart move for the industry. Because I think...
Yeah, but it hurts.
Yeah.
Well, it hurts developers, I think.
In a weird way, it's smart to do that because it helps the industry heal faster. right? It's the difference between ripping the Band-Aid off all at once versus slowly pulling it off. Like,
and there is arguments for both in a lot of ways too.
yeah,
Because the problem could be, especially like if you do it too slow, is like you actually might snowball get worse because now people's money problems get worse too.
yeah,
Depending who it is. Like obviously people who just want the check, but like the little ones who are actually like watching the bottom line, like reality of watching that thing tick down, like that could be a big difference. If they lay off 30% now or 10%, because it turns out they're actually spending a lot more money.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's, you know, it works. The industry is going to be fine. It's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm. But the other thing that I wanted to say too, which I thought was pretty cool, is so the first day of the expo hall on Wednesday last week, they did at like lunchtime a live orchestra of like a bunch of different game stuff. And Austin Wintry was the conductor, and then was hosted by Troy Baker, and that was a really cool time. And I wanted to shout that out because I'm hoping they're doing the back end next year. Because they brought on, God, who's the composer for Hades? But they brought him out. They brought out the composer for Kingdom Hearts, who actually was winning an award that night. She also like Street Fighter 2. And they brought out like a few others. And it ended with Troy Baker singing the Bioshock Infinite song, which is really cool.
Which Bioshock song? The God Only Knows song? That's been around forever.
No, is that the one where it's like the chain will be broken?
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, that was a good GDC. Jumping into, I think, there's really not much film TV stuff going on, besides we'll get some trailers going on. Because, I don't know, the industry's just quiet, which is kind of weird. I don't know.
It's post-strike kind of mess.
I think now we're in that weird, yeah. Isn't there potential like another strike coming up soon?
Not one that would impact the industry the way that they had.
Okay, so it wasn't as bad as I thought.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, there's always a strike pending.
Somewhere.
So I wouldn't worry too much about it.
No, that makes total sense.
It just happened that Writers Guild and SAG were timed in such a way that
It really
messed with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But yeah, jumping into, we have two things of wrestling thing that I want to talk about from last month. First being, I actually watched a bunch of AW Revolution, which was obviously Sting's retirement. I just want to show that was, I think, a really good pay-per-view, and how they treated Sting and the closing of him. It's kind of nice to see a wrestler retire who I actually feel might stay retired for matches, and then also get treated like the respect they deserve. Because, like, Sting,
well, I mean,
I don't think there'll be 80 in a ring. Just gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Sting is always going to be the what could have been aspect of, you know, he was a WCW guy for life, right? Like, and then as soon as WCW went away, he was a TNA guy for life. So, you know, it was. Yeah, my game just crashed.
Yeah, Sting has to be what, the most known non-WWE wrestler?
In the States, yeah.
Yeah, in the States. Asterisks in the States. But, like, I'm trying to think of, like, I feel like for someone who is as infamous as he is, it is interesting how he never was in, like, WWE.
Yeah.
And I'm showing the lobby, by the way. And then the other one I shout out, which I was upsettingly last minute didn't go to because I got sick on Monday, which was the Raw at Allstate Arena in Chicago. And I somehow missed seeing The Rock because of that, which is annoying. And I'm like, so my friends went, and they said it was not a super wrestling type of show, but they said it was a very interesting show and very fun to be at just because of, like, how monologue heavy it was and how much they'd let The Rock just destroy Cody Rhodes.
The problem I'm having with this as I'm, like, dipping my toe in and haven't really been paying too close attention to it, is Rock's try to play heel.
Right.
Meanwhile, his public persona is this, aw shucks, happy-go-lucky dude. And it's just like, dude, you can't be putting promos you're cutting on your Instagram that is also advertising your skincare brand. Like, you just can't be doing that.
Mm-hmm. No, that's very true. I'm gonna be very curious how they handle it, and also I'm also intrigued because obviously like the show got very intense to a point where like I'm wondering if they're purposely like getting it more PG-13ish kind of for the rise of them going to Netflix and can kind of get away with stuff they probably couldn't go with on TV.
Maybe.
Because like I'm not saying always, but I can see a world where if WWE is not on TV, they could be like, okay, what could we do? Or like have moments what you do. We will see there. Jumping into trailers, there's quite a few that kind of launched last month. The first one I'll start with, because obviously I think is one you're least interested in, which is we got the Fallout TV show trailer, which comes out very soon. And even at the trailer, I immediately was like, I think they might actually know what Fallout somewhat is. We've got some clips later that make me a little more concerned. But I'm going to be very interested if Amazon can actually pull off this Fallout TV show, which at least at first glance, I think is at least passing the looks test, which is not true of every video game property I think we've gotten adopted. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that one.
I mean, I'll watch it, right? Like,
yeah.
Which
I'll
I
be
think
curious.
is.
Like, I'll be very curious how they handle these stories too, just because like the part of the Fallout world was never the main story that people care about it, but not in that way.
Yeah.
It'd be like making a Skyrim thing. You'd be like, what's the story you're telling?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those where you do kind of question, okay, why, who, what, where, when, why, right, is the big thing. And I guess that's for me, the why is the question with Fallout. Like, does Fallout really need to be a TV show? I mean,
No.
Granted, if you were going to pick any of them, any game to do a TV show, Fallout's not a bad one.
Oh no, because I think it being the world, I think it's very relatively easy to show in a like film or a TV show or film, and I think because we understand it, but I think you also do fun stuff with it because like a lot of it's so like physical effecty anyway that it works really well in a physical like that type of medium.
Yeah.
Because like in theory, you could either super CG this, or you could literally do the like strap stuff on them way too.
Yeah.
That'd be very interesting. Speaking of stuff though that I don't think we need, and I'm very intrigued by, Beetlejuice 2024.
Yeah, we don't need a Beetlejuice sequel. Like,
this is called. Why are we making this?
yeah.
Like I don't understand at all who wanted this or thought this was a good idea.
You know what this is? This is a producer that's like in his early 40s at Warner going, you know what movie I loved as a kid? Beetlejuice. I have kids that are roughly that age. They should be able to experience a Beetlejuice of their own. It's like, no, just show them Beetlejuice.
Well, 100%. Just show them Beetlejuice. Like, what? I completely agree. So, yeah, that happened there. The next one kind of on there, which I'm intrigued by, but I don't know if it's going to be good, is Penguin. I've been hearing some stuff that, like, makes me feel like there's a chance this film's actually good.
Show.
The show's actually good, but I don't know, kind of, did you have any thoughts on it? Because, like, to me, the big one that I think stood out was, like, how they're letting him actually look more like Penguin and act like him than, like, the movie did.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Odds want to make something good in that universe. But, like,
Also, where does this universe fall? Right, so the Batman thing is separate from the James Gunn thing, but does James Gunn still watch over it?
Yes and no.
Okay. And then lastly, obviously, the trailer that I saved for last very purposely is the one that I'm pretty sure we're both the most interested in, which is part of the proof that we need to just clone George Miller, because Furiosa trailer has released, and oh boy, are we watching that? We're watching that film, right?
Yeah.
I think there's zero doubt in our head, right, that we were going to spend all of our time watching that film and having to watch Mad Max to prepare.
I mean, we're not just watching Mad Max, we're watching Shiny and Chrome.
Yeah, okay, that's the correct version of Mad Max at this point. I want to, whenever like I actually upgrade to like a super nice TV, that should be like the thing I tested on, right?
Actually, not really. Because it's really only a great test of HDR.
Okay.
Because of it being black and white. Probably a better movie. Honestly, the color version of Fury Road would be a great one.
That is, I think Top Gun Maverick's a good one, but that's good like audio showcase, I feel like.
Actually, no, you know the movie you need to test the TV on is Blade Runner 2049.
Yes.
There's so much neon in that movie that
it would just
it's
be
basically
amazing.
a requirement for a new TV.
So I have actually been debating, should I go back and watch that movie again, since I haven't seen it since we saw it in whatever that was.
It's so good.
Especially now that like I've seen so much more of his work, so I'm kind of used to how he does things, that I'd be curious kind of if I have a different impression of that film.
Yeah, if you had never really gotten into
Wait, 'cause
Villeneuve's movies,
that might have been my first film of his. Because I think we saw that before Sicario or after.
well, for me, it was significantly after.
Sure, but I'm trying to think like for me, because I think we watched like the first time I watched Sicario was because you said to watch it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, now we will jump into, I think that's all of it. Honestly, again, film should be quiet. We're jumping into already some game stuff. Oofta, oofta, oofta. Let's start with the saddest news I see you put up top. Sony is officially halting production on PSVR 2, and it's basically like, and with combined with the rumors that they're obviously bringing this thing to PC. Do we think PSVR is long for this world? Like at all?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing that they're missing is the thing that they figured out for the first one, which is
Games?
being able to use it on PC.
Yes. No,
Right,
that's gonna be a big one.
You know, the PC capabilities are what kept PSVR 1 alive for so long. And
No,
honestly, what really drew
plugged it in.
interest for a second one. So,
I'm gonna be very intrigued because also I've not tried PS4 2, but across the board I've heard is the best headset, like just of what's out there, without going super high grade.
in terms of the headset quality, yes, the screen quality isn't the best, but yeah,
But like headset quality, I've been hearing like across as like a round deal, it's like
Yep.
the best out there.
yeah.
So I'm be very interested if anything can happen with PC and all this stuff, because like even also they do like eye tracking, they do a lot of cool tech in it. So
Yeah.
we will see. Next thing we got is Larian announced at GDC, which, as you can imagine, Larian cleaned up at the GDC Awards, that they are officially done with Baldur's Gate, and even more, they are done with working with the Wizards like all together, and their plan is just kind of make their own stuff at this point. I think obviously it's a team that probably earned that leeway, probably with publishers now too, that they probably didn't have before, and probably with the industry. But the big thing to me there is still because obviously when Hasbro did those giant layoffs right after Baldur's Gate launched, like they got a giant chunk. I am very curious how much of this decision was the studio basically being like, we're not supporting them anymore, versus just dealing with the like licensing part of it. I don't know if you had any thought like with that of like what in your head was like to them like the final straw.
They were probably just ready to do something different. They'd been working on it for so long.
Yeah, but I'm curious. I bet you they're still going to do like an RPG like that genre again. I'll just be curious, kind of what it is.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'll also be curious if they end up partnering with like someone else who does like a different type of tabletop system, and if they gamify that, or if they just kind of do their own. So yeah, that's interesting. But
I
yeah,
mean, there's
Larry,
only so many ways that you can spin D&D.
that's true, but there are a lot of them like out there variations. And then breaking news from today that we were talking, that I thought should be talked about is, so we officially have the first ever union contract for developers at a major game company. So workers at Sega America, a division of Sega Sammy Holdings, is officially the first employees of a North American video games union that was a ratified contract. Some of the peak highlights from the story here at Bloomberg, including they had a 3% raise this year, automatic 3% raise next year, and a 2.6 in 2026, on top of a bunch of other benefits. It's wild to see this has happened, and it's obviously there's a few that you just kind of floating in the background that they're starting to negotiate with. So I'm be very curious how fast this kind of spreads throughout the industry, because obviously it's been a solid 5, 6, 7 years of people talking about this, versus it finally happening.
Yeah, I mean, they screwed themselves though, because they they could have had cost of living as a thing in their contract, not just a 3%, because I think they're based in San Francisco. Cost of living goes up way more than 3% each year in San Francisco.
It depends. If the rent keeps going down, then maybe not. But yeah, no, I completely agree. It's very interesting to me how they all, locked them in those numbers, kind of like that. And that also is part of the problem with this systems is you are because a company, as you could imagine, won't agree to a blank check, and as a company owner, I probably wouldn't either. Like independent of giving people raises, you don't agree to a blind that. So it's very interesting with this stuff. Always kind of what's the line you can negotiate ahead of time versus keep open.
Yeah.
So that is gonna be big stuff there. This broke, I think, right before I left for GDC, and I think we should talk about is, so Warner obviously had their big earnings call, and they're talking about the success and lack of success of some of their games. And Warner has basically decided that it is safer for them to make more live service things that fail because of the monetary turn than it would be for them to create more things like the best-selling game last year in Harry Potter.
I see where they're coming from.
I don't know. From a risk reward, I could financially get it. It is still one of the most frustrating decisions they could have physically have said and made.
Yeah.
Because as the type of games we like, those are probably it's gonna be more of things we don't like in those games.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, it's also super torn because obviously we all point to it's funny they said this after Harry Potter, but at the same time, none of us truly believe Harry Potter is a repeatable success of a bunch of IPs. It's just kind of maybe Harry Potter's a strong enough IP to do that with too. So that's what gets super weird. But yeah.
Well, and I think the thing that helped Hogwarts Legacy was, as much as people like to shit on J.K. Rowling, and I'm one of them, that's still one of the biggest media properties.
That's what I think makes it a very unique thing because of how unique it is comparatively to basically Harry Potter. TBH is the size of stuff like Star Wars and all that, of the things we talk about all the time.
I mean, I would argue that it's bigger than Star Wars.
Do you think so?
In terms of pop culture right now, absolutely.
Sure, monetary value, I'd be curious. There actually might not be that far apart, honestly, but...
Yeah, in terms of what things draw, I mean, part of what makes Harry Potter so popular is it hasn't been ground to death. Mm-hmm. The way that, Star Wars has.
We even saw, when they brought out those, the movie things, and those were not the most well-received.
The movie things. Oh, Fantastic Beasts?
Fantastic Beasts.
the third one, the last one. I know it hasn't been viewed at very highly, but I mean, by all accounts, it was a popular franchise. Like, it wasn't a dud.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It wasn't a dud. It was just kind of not the level, or even close to the level of Harry Potter. So, speaking of, this is just a string of developers we're going to yell at. Let's just stay in Warner Brothers a second, actually. This broke a bit ago, and it's still the most baffling of news, which is Warner is delisting basically all Adult Swim games on Steam. Which...
Oh, it's not just Steam. I think it's every platform.
It's every platform, but it's mostly Steam is kind of where people get the notices from. They're letting some developers, I've heard, transfer the, like not just license, but, like, re-upload the game as a new Steam page and, like, republish it. But otherwise, it's basically your SOL if you're a developer and has had this game out for a while. Warner, what the flying hell? Like, we get you, like, deleting things. But this seems extreme even for them.
Yeah.
Like, I remember reading that and I was like, what? I didn't know they could do that. Like, in that way.
Yeah, it was certainly I got into the story halfway scenario, and I was like, what's going on? Oh.
you like, they could do what?
Well, it wasn't that. It was like, I kept seeing people talk about, like, Adult Swim games, and I'm going, you mean, like, the Rick and Morty games that weren't great?
They're like a decent-sized publisher. They were at the time, at least.
Yeah.
Like a decent-sized publisher. And like a lot of like that indie stuff we got in like that mid-teens or late teens era is them that people really liked. So I'm hoping that basically all the developers are able to get their games out and be able to keep selling them. But like that is I think it's very shitty for the developers too, because now they have to like redo all that stuff. They lose all of that back end. So we will see.
Oh yes, I didn't have to cheese that achievement. Thank God.
Let's jump into the next one, which is EA's CEO is... I know EA is not the company it once was of people hating it, but they're really fighting. Their CEO has announced that their goal is to basically make 60% of the development process impacted by Gen AI, and that they want to increase game productivity by up to 30% using Gen AI and AI technology, which I am probably not pro it, but like more I see, like, there's some use case I can see, I go, okay, this is fine. That seems like the amount of numbers where I think people were concerned about, but also I'm going to stick with as someone who works as tech. I don't truly believe the tech is there to the level that these execs are running around screaming it is. Like, it's some stuff there, and there's some stuff repeatable and increasable. It is not I could fully replace artist level there, and anyone who's pretending it is hasn't actually worked with that stuff and knows what they're looking at.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you have any thoughts of the impending doom of AI in the games industry and kind of what we're seeing execs talk about, especially this one.
The doom.
Again,
they're going to do it, and everyone's going to hate them for it, and then they're going to find something else to bitch and moan about. So.
And then the question will be, like, I'm not saying, again, I think it will affect some people's jobs. I do. I do not think it's going to affect jobs in this level of magnitude, in this volume, especially in this short of a time, based on what we're seeing. Because a lot of other stuff kind of in the background of it, I go, I think, not it's faked by any stretch, there's a lot of stuff there. But a lot of it also, you have to have someone who knows what they're looking at to, like, actually use that data and know how to talk with the AI and know how to actually get stuff out of it and is able to check it to make sure it's not, like, making something up that's horrible. Which is a big thing, too.
Yeah.
So, we will see there. Jumping into, I think this is the... Nope. We still have a few more of horrible execs. This is one that I'm pretty sure you were super excited about, and I was pretty okay with. Starbreeze has ousted their CEO, Tobias Gorgren?
Solgren.
Solgren, basically because let's be, it probably wasn't solely, but like Payday 3 was the final straw, and it's, let's just say, not well financially received experience. Wow. The one game launch making an exec being like removed from a company is pretty damn wow.
Yeah.
Especially like something like that where like I feel like it was relatively easy for them to make a sequel that would have been decently well received.
Honestly, I don't even know how they would have made a sequel to Payday 2.
You just need more content. I can see like you up the like at that point it's old enough. I guess you could do a bunch of stuff. I think to kind of make it look and play a bit better.
Well, but then you have like an HD Payday 2, which that's fine.
They need to do like the Hitman thing where they just made it like a content window.
Yeah.
Like well, like sure, like Hitman 3 launched, but it was in that like at that point it was part of Hitman and all like that. They need to do something like that. I think is what they really felt like they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, if they had a Payday platform, which Payday 2 was a Payday platform, like it brought in missions from the first game eventually. So.
Yep. Okay, so final we have 3 basically layoffs and 1 I'd say happy story. Where would you like to begin? Front like sad or the happy first?
Let's go with sad. Let's just take our cough medicine now.
Okay. First one. PlayStation-backed Deviation Games officially closed. Which is wild. That's the studio, if you don't know, that was formed by a bunch of the Call of Duty execs, and they originally had a deal with PlayStation
Yeah.
to create some sort of, not Call of Duty, but some sort. We all kind of assumed it was some sort of Call of Duty equivalent game.
It was going to be one of the live service games, yeah.
It was one of those secondary live service games, and it was by a bunch of execs and team that made like Black Ops and games like that. So like it was like a thing like we all like okay, there's a good chance here. Closed, shut down. Which I think is very interesting because like just a few years ago they were actively talking about the amount of money they had and stuff, and I want to know how much they blew through that.
Yeah.
Because like how did that change? Because even if like they lost deals or deals changed, like the amount of runway they were talking they just had in the bank and stuff.
I think it's that debt is no longer cheap. I
Yeah,
think it's
and
literally just that. You know, I wish it was a more
Which is a better answer, but yeah, no, you're
better
probably
answer,
right.
but it's just that debt is no longer cheap.
And as stuff like interest rates rose, stuff like VC cash is harder to come by. So if you need another funding round, is different. Yeah, no, it's gonna be very interesting to see kind of where a bunch of them end up and kind of because everyone like they're trying to get people out there and stuff, but yeah, it's rough as we said. The other one is so Valiant Studios announced a bunch of layoffs. They are the team that did Knockout City, for example, and the Mario Kart live circuit thing.
Yeah, the mobile one.
Apparently, there was a game cancellation there, is what it sounds like. But oofta, that's a studio that I actually forgot about a bit, and I actually didn't realize they were in some level of financial strains because it felt like the stuff they worked on was really well received and even money wise made money.
I mean, Knockout City was kind of DOA, like.
But like that one, I felt like they'd figured that out by now and already accounted for that in their financing. But like the Mario Kart circuit, I thought actually did really well.
Yeah, that was one of those games that Nintendo was pushing for their mobileification, if you will, of their IP, and
then people liked it. Like it was definitely one that I think I heard about.
Yeah, I mean there was that. There was the Mario Infinite Runner, or not Infinite Runner, but
Man, you're talking about that was a super early one.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah. So yeah. And then finally, of the insane stories, Rooster Teeth is officially shutting down. That one is.
That was the one where I was surprised.
Okay, but the wild part of the story is, if you read it, is apparently they had not been profitable since they were bought. That's the part that I think shook me of that story.
It didn't surprise me that much when you remembered like what all they were in, you know. Like they produced 2 movies. Now granted, I think there were at least one of them, if not both, was kickstarted. I think the other was on Indiegogo, but you know, they were crowdfunded projects, so they didn't have to take all the risk. So,
but at the same time, it was still I guess because the amount of stuff they did, you'd think at a certain point their owner would be like, "Excuse me, where is this money coming from?"
yeah.
And I guess that's what kind of shook me about it. Because like, even stuff like we went to like Let's Play Live and all this stuff, but it's like apparently lost some money on that stuff. It's like, how is your and you guys haven't had corporate ownership for so long? How would this like get past them?
Yeah, their ownership program, whatever you want to call it, something's up because, you know, I don't know if they were just smooth talking Texans or.
Because like, how does anyone who's like Warner, who, like any of them who looked for a while and like open up their books and go, yeah, this is fine. Like, I feel like the first thing would be like, we don't need this live thing then. Like, you start cutting the obvious stuff.
Yeah.
I don't see, obviously, we've had people who lost their jobs, but yeah, that was a shocking one. But it made sense once you kind of dug into it. But it was a bit shocking in the moment. So yeah, final story, which I think, this is the good news one. Embracer has officially sold Saber and a bunch of teams with them to Saber / some like external investors. So at least they are escaping the great void known as Embracer Group.
Yeah.
And we hope them and their colleagues best in their newfound, let's call it freedom. Is freedom a good term for that one? So,
honestly, I have no idea.
But yeah, that is it. That is all the stuff that happened. Let's talk about games coming out soon. There's a bunch. We actually some. The Turtles arcade. It's the Turtles Wrath Memes, which is basically the arcade collection, comes out to everything on April 23rd. Celebrate 26. Sonic Saga Hellblade 2, the 21st of May. System Shock Remix coming to consoles on May 21st. F1 24. I'm assuming AJ's classic. May 31st. Destiny 2.
I haven't even played F1 23, honestly.
Huh.
I probably should at some point, but let's wait till 24.
Destiny 2, the final shape, I call it the pre-layoff experience, is coming out on June 4th. And then finally, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, comes out to everything on June 21. Like, there are more games. Honestly, this is still not the best in the world list yet.
And I mean, also, we have to remember the NCAA, most likely June, especially after that clapper, the literal last shot of the teaser trailer that they announced saying, hey, we're going to have something in May, has a date, and it's 6/7/24.
Yeah, again, once it gets on there, we'll throw it on there. I'm just waiting because we have not had it. I'll be interested if we really get that close without a date. Like, I think we should have soon if it's...
Which, I mean, that's a Friday.
Yeah, no, logically, I could see it. So we'll see. But that is it. That is all we have been given. Unless you've had something... I didn't see any April films that were of real note.
I'm attempting to...
Yeah, I figured as much.
Look at that. Civil War would probably be my
it
go-to.
Looks interesting, I'll give it that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be good or not, but we'll get it. So Civil War.
I mean, it's got everything going for it, right? It's the director of Ex Machina. It's got Kirsten Dunst. Like, a lot of the movie should point to it being good. the question becomes, all right, so everything says it should be good. Is that going to lull you into a sense of security and say, oh, well, it must be good?
Yeah, I'll be very intrigued on that one. So yeah, but that is it. That's all we got. So yeah.
Also, there's a movie called Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Great name for a movie.
That is a great name for a movie. I'm not even gonna lie, that's an amazing name for a movie.
So yeah.
Yeah,
We will
that
be
is-
watching Civil War for Movie Club.
I'm hoping it doesn't. Real one doesn't break out with it. That'd be the ultimate. Like it was just like a week too early or something. It comes out.
I've seen people say, kind of early reviews, like, this movie's like 2 years too late.
Is that the one that like starts with the most unrealistic map of all time of like the Civil War lines? And I was like, excuse me.
I think so, yeah.
I remember people talking about like when that came out. I was like, what are these lines?
Yeah, it's like Texas and California teamed up
Yes.
together, and you're like,
Like this is not happening.
and you're just like, I guess, like,
You're like, I'm pretty sure that if Texas would kill each other, if they're all Texans, they would definitely kill Californians. It'd be like saying that like Wisconsin, Illinois is on the same side if they get an option. It's like really.
I mean, I think the Midwest would just team together and say,
No, we would just because we would want anyone else to. Like it'd be one of those we'd all like accept each other for that exact reason.
yeah.
We'd all be like, we're not letting anyone else deal with this.
I mean, also, you have to remember the largest militia in the U.S. is based in the Midwest, so. I love when people talk about, like, if the Civil War or, like, a war broke out or, like, the Hunger Games idea. I'm like, everyone is forgetting Michigan's literally got a militia.
My favorite is one of those I saw is that there was one and they like divided the map east and west and it was like the east included like everything like Dallas and east and it's like the west coast doesn't even have a half a second of a chance.
Yeah.
Like we still got Texas, Wisconsin, Florida. It's like okay, we're just gonna call this a day and pretend you guys have 2 seconds to live.
Yeah.
The only one I was concerned about on the list was the west coast got Montana.
It's big enough.
But that's the only one on that list I'd be like, okay, those are the people I'd be a little concerned about. Everyone else, like let's be honest here. Even like Nevada, are we that? Do you think people in Wisconsin can handle Nevada?
Yes. Yes, because they would just push their way to Vegas. I mean, shit, Wisconsin already takes over Vegas for 2 weeks out of the year anyway.
That's what I mean. Like that's like it would be a nothing. Like when you get north to like Washington, are we serious? Like
Washington, I would
state.
worry about because Washington and Oregon have those West Coast hillbillies
Oh damn, that's true. They have those are some true crazy people.
where like they're just tripping on shrooms the whole time.
And what's interesting about them is because they're not surrounded with people who like agree with them a lot of times too. So it's like they're the true type crazy who doesn't care. Like,
Yeah. Like at least our Appalachian hillbillies, like they're good for making a damn good liquor and driving in circles really fast.
but like they're not the ones who are gonna mess with you. If you leave them alone, they'll generally leave you alone.
Yeah, you leave them alone, you'll just get plastic jugs of moonshine left on your doorstep. And you have to slip a 20 into the mailbox. That's about it.
Because they only take cash, and it's only the cash before the 1990s, before they added like something to it to track them or something.
Yeah.
Like,
But,
yeah.
yeah.
We will see you next time. Hopefully without a civil war.
I don't know. It might be interesting.
The SWW Show and all of its affiliate podcasts are podcast by me, Mike Maroney, and AJ Losi, sometimes by our contributors, including Corey King. You can follow the SWW Show on social media at the SWW Show, or sooner or later you go to patreon.com/SWW SWW to help us out. Thank you. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day.